bring you your next favorite band.
Thanks for having us. This is a very cool show.
Yeah, so through many iterations, and we finally landed on the weirdest one by far.
Yeah, simple feelings, and boom, you got a sound.
I remember this one time. I had been writing some songs, and I went out. I'm just going right in on this story. I went out, and so I was.
The story's longer than the song itself. We'll go ahead and play it. So.
And listen, it's going to be everybody's favorite band. Welcome to your next favorite band. That's both the show title and our promise to you. We here at Stereophilia Studio are tireless in our pursuit of finding incredible, genre-defiant artists who are either a hot up-and-coming band or a group that has been delivering for years but have flown under the radar. Tonight, the ukulele-driven folk soul of Sug Daniels. Each month, we will bring you live streams, audio podcasts, and perhaps even a live concert where you can listen to the stories and hear the music of artists personally curated by us based on what we feel will be worthy of your time. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to each episode because the possibilities are endless and you never know who will be your next favorite band. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Philip Reese.
Hello, and I am David Moore, your co-host.
And this is...
your next favorite band.
I think we're on to something.
Yeah, we're on to something tonight with our artist, Sug Daniels. So you threw the ukulele in the intro, but yeah, like a folky soul R&B thing, but she plays ukulele, she writes on ukulele, so this is a good one.
Yeah, and a very cool evolution to get there. It wasn't where she started, so...
not at all.
But where she did start was Delaware, which you're pumped about.
Man, do I get a free sandwich at this point in time with the number of guests we've had on from Delaware?
We should do a count, but it's definitely like somewhere in the double digits to 3.
All I want to say is apparently we're the most talented state, and that's all that we have to say, and that's fine. I mean, I'll accept it, and we'll take our laurels and humbly...
Yeah, I mean, inarguably the first state.
Number 1, just like I said.
Right. So you have to keep with a reputation there.
It takes a little effort to be such a small wonder.
Yes. Yeah. But before we get to the interview with Sug, a couple things to touch on here. First, just an observation. I thought this was kind of a funny thing. So took the fam to the movies over the 4th of July weekend. It was the new Spider-Man movie, which we're big fans of the whole kind of, as many people are, the whole arc there. But was definitely getting ready for that and sitting there in the movie theater here. And you know how like that thing runs in the beginning, like not the previews, like what's running on the screen. It's just kind of like amusing you while you wait.
Yeah.
And so this section comes up that starts talking about, AMC or whoever was, proud to support local businesses, and then was supposed to have been followed by local businesses, but only one showed up, and it was Lehigh Valley Hospital, which I'm sitting there going, support, like what, get sick? And
yeah, I mean,
that was the one side, like make sure you get sick, or the other one was if you get sick, don't go far away, like go out of state, like
right. And there's the great contradiction of just also being in the United States, where we talk about hospitals and business as the same idea,
right?
Which is in most places that's not the case.
Yeah,
they're
I just
like an institution.
Yeah, and also when I think local businesses, not hospital aside, it's also just kind of a massive institution in and of itself. I'm thinking like small restaurants or retail shops on Main Street.
Some sort of auto repair shop, something like that.
Right. Yeah, who with a picture of a guy, who clearly took it himself, but in an adorable way.
Sure, it's Don's Amazing Pizza Place or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, and then it was. Oh, the hospital. Wait a minute. How do you support a local hospital?
What does that say about the food I'm having here at the movie theater?
Right, exactly. Yeah, don't choke on a kernel corn. But anyway, thought that was humorous. But movie was great. and those Spider-Man animated movies have great music to them as well. So that's
Yeah, well, I
super
mean, it's probably the best comic book movies in my opinion because it's where animation shines. It's a
cool.
perfect match, and plus they do all sorts of cool like behind the scenes stuff for the animation, how they not just the technical aspects but artistic decisions they made
Oh
that
yeah,
would never happen with a live action film.
yeah, and just brilliant writing and animation and everything about it. I thought it was super cool. So yeah, and then I hear you're going to see Indiana Jones, so we're seeing just the pillars of the cinematic universe.
I have to go. I guess I've seen the other four in the theater, so I sort of have to sort of check the box,
Yes.
But I mean, Indiana Jones is only at its best when Harrison Ford is punching Nazis,
Yes.
and so it's you gotta come to terms with the fact that old man Harrison is not going to be doing that in the same way.
No,
And that's okay.
No. But hey, it's still it's I would definitely go see it as well. We chose the Spider-Man one, but
Yep.
But look forward to hearing how that is. Wanted to give people a save the date moment here, like we did last year. Basically, we're going to pivot here to Music Fest and our episode that airs the Tuesday beforehand. So this year will fall on August 1st.
Right.
That will forever be like a preview show. So we call it the Music Fest Exordium. David gives me crap about using a word like that, saying I sound pretentious. I apologize if it does.
It also comes up as misspelled every time I put it in anywhere.
Well, that's because wherever you're typing it into doesn't understand Latin. I don't know if that's the word, but
it's like applied Latin.
right? Yeah, exactly. Making it sound pretentious. But exordium, what is exordium? A beginning or introduction. So that's why we figured. I thought it was a fun word. And if people go, what the heck's an exordium? Maybe they'll tune in to find out. Or they might tune in because our guests are amazing. So here is now a preview and a reveal on the guests. So up on the screen here. Live stream Tuesday, 8/1, 7 p.m. We're going to be live streaming from the Flying V Poutineery. So we'll have Christy and or Matt on, who are the owners, and talking about, obviously, their amazing deliciousness of poutine that they serve on both North and South Side during the festival. And then we're going to get into must-see bands, a curated list. Patrick Brogan's going to join us from Arts Quest, who obviously is highly informed. He's the program director over there. We'll throw out our ideas as well, for whatever that would be worth. I think this is always an important and an interesting one. The weather projections, even though it is a little bit out, like it'll be, 3 days out from opening night, and then obviously 10 days out or whatever it is, 12.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost 2 weeks out from the end of
it.
Though last year, Bobby was almost spot on.
He was spot on.
He didn't really miss it. It was just, at the end you have to, make broader strokes.
Yeah, but he was spot on for the opening 3, 4, 5 days, and then the pivot he was basically 100% right on. Just he had obviously couched it with anything can happen kind of stuff, but I mean he's a brilliant prognosticator of weather, of meteorologic amazingness, and a good hang too. He's a fun guy, so we can hear more about EPAWA, and then other people we're going to have on. Jack Silva, who's superintendent of the Bethlehem Area School District, to talk about Freedom and Liberty High Schools, who have that program, who they booked, and how that program works. We're going to have on Richard Liu, who's the chair of the Performing Arts Board of Arts Quest. We're going to have on Gerard Longo of the Underground Music Collective, who actually comes back every year to work Music Fest. We have an announcement for that as well, and then also we're going to close the show out with some live music. So Igor from Igor and the Red Elvises will be on the show and a little bit of an interview and performing. And then also will be Billy Bauer and Bobby Siegfried.
It should be a fun evening for all.
Yes, it should. So we're figuring that'll go, like the first half will be the must-see acts and the weather and that kind of stuff, and then we'll get into some of those other guests in the second half. It'll probably be 2 hours, maybe 2:15, giving you the heads up there. You can also take it in pieces, so we'll be live streaming it that night, and we'll be also, then it'll be available on demand. The podcast episode, I think we'll put out normally on Thursdays. I think we'll try and put it out Wednesday morning as soon as it's available. This way people have more time to kind of check it out before the festival hits.
It sounds like I should start my homework.
Yes. It is definitely it'll be due soon. So yeah, that is the Music Fest Exordium, and we are super pumped for that. And thank you to the Flying V for letting us set up there again. Let's get to the interview. So first and foremost, what we have is to thank a local restaurant, because Sug was kind enough to want to do this in person, and so she's in Philly, kind of southish Philly. East Passayunk was an area, and I had eaten and took in live music at a place called Flannel. Reached out to them, and they were all about it. They hire a lot of musicians on their staff. They book musicians every Friday and Saturday night, so we were able to spend a few moments here with owner and chef Marc Grika, and so wanted to say a huge thank you to Marc and to Flannel for a great evening and great host. So here, learn a little bit more about Flannel in East Passayunk, Philadelphia. So here we are at Flannel in East Passayunk, Philadelphia, with owner Marc Grika.
And chef and head dishwasher.
Well,
Also in charge of red tape.
yes.
A lot of it.
Yeah. Primarily, we wanted to make sure that we, first and foremost, said thank you so much.
I'm
Because
so excited that you came and you brought Sug here.
right. So we just, I made a phone call like on a random Wednesday night, because I have eaten here, and I've caught Drew Nugent, the Midnight Society, on that stage over there. And so when Sug is from this kind of neighborhood, Sug Daniels, who we're interviewing tonight, I was just looking around and I was like, oh, there's Flannel. Let me just try that, because I knowing there was an appreciation for music and a really cool vibe of the place. But you took the phone call and we're all about it right away. So couldn't thank you enough for that. And we obviously also want to make sure that we get to tell people how cool the place is.
Yeah, my pleasure. And we're always excited to have a great musician here, because half of my staff, if not more, are musicians, as well as
awesome.
my parents are musicians, as well as we have 9 different bands that rotate here every Friday and Saturday night, from jazz to rock to folk
Awesome.
to blues.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the restaurant. So going back, how long have you had
A little
Flannel?
over 4 years now, so it's been a wonderful COVID ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we survived. We took our vaccines and we made it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and people in the neighborhoods support us greatly, which is why we're still here.
Sure.
It's Southern comfort food in a comfortable environment. We call it Southern Comfortable.
Nice. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And we're in this corner booth over here, but if you were able to see the rest of this, there's just awesome artwork on the walls and, cool seating, like just kind of eclectic in a very nice way. And the very clear sentiment of, acceptance and equality, like throughout the place. So very nice place to come.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And the food was great. From my prior time being here, and I certainly agree with that Southern comfortable kind of vibe to it.
Nice. I mean, there's always a line for brunch down the street, but dinner, there's always available seats.
Yep.
And people love the ribs and the fried chicken, and those are our biggest sellers.
Nice. And the hours, what
9 to 9, most days, except for Friday and Saturday, we're open until 10.
Got it.
And we serve brunch and dinner all day long, all the time.
Got it. And the music is Fridays and Saturdays?
6:30 to 9:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much a steady flow of live music Fridays and Saturdays, 6:30 to 9:30, and it's kind of, like you said, a little bit of a rotation. But you're also open to other ones, like maybe some other new artists will come in, like Sug or something like that.
Oh, we're always excited to add new bands to the roster, more people. Yeah, and especially music that matches our feeling.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we have a very eclectic mix on the playlist, and we have Southern musicians from all walks of life and all facets of life.
That's awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for letting us kind of plop down here for a little bit to be able to interview Sug, and can't wait to continue to sample the food and the drinks, and thank you, Marc, for everything.
Awesome, my pleasure.
Thank you, Marc.
Thank you.
What a great host. I mean,
he was fantastic. The place was fantastic.
Yes.
Flannel was great. So if you're in that part of Philadelphia and you're looking for a bite to eat, check it out.
yes, could not recommend that more. Food, drinks, everything. And again, like we talked about, the core, everything was great. And then like I said, I've been down there for music on the stage, and it's super enjoyable, especially summertime. The doors are open and it's a cool breeze coming in. It's or maybe a warm breeze. Either way, it's still awesome. But yes, thank you once again to Mark and to the staff at Flannel for being wonderful hosts. Now turning to our guest for the evening, Sug Daniels. Let's play a little music. As you heard there, some of the riffs at the opening and closing there are her. But she has a brand new song out called When I'm Gone. And it is kind of taking off really quickly. So let me play some of it here for everyone. Dave will do some bio, and then we'll jump over to the interview with her. So here is When I'm Gone by Sug Daniels.
Days go by, I wonder if you notice. You're so high up in your sky-rise apartment. What am I supposed to do until I see you again?
Sug Daniels is a Delaware-born, Philadelphia-based singer-songwriter, storyteller, and producer who is using the tools around her to capture the emotions of an era. Daniels' work is as colorful, vulnerable, and charismatic as her personality. She thoughtfully combines elements of folk, R&B, and soul alternatives to create personal and tender music interlaced with memory messages of truth and positive change.
Yeah, let's bring this back up.
Do you miss me when I'm gone? I know you got a girlfriend, but darling, I don't mind. What's between you's between you. I'm not here to change your mind. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not obsessive. I'm not the jealous type. Hey, me, baby. Hey, me, baby. I wanna know what you're into, because I want to do it right. But first I got to know. Baby, don't you wanna touch my body? Don't you wanna drive me crazy? Don't you wanna make it with me?
All right, let's bring in the interview with Sug Daniels. Live, recorded live from Flannel Restaurant in Philadelphia.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, so there you just heard When I'm Gone, the latest release, approaching 10,000 streams already.
I know.
Congratulations.
I don't know how we did it. I don't know if it's like we just did something the algorithm really likes, or if the music is good. But I think it's good.
I think the music is good.
I mean, the music is good. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with placating the algorithm a little bit.
Right.
Yep.
I know that's right.
Yeah, and also, I think this is something we'll dive into here, is the universe has been on your side, I feel like, throughout. Mm-hmm. Some of that not always easy, but still, the music seems to have always been finding its way through you. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to tell the story.
Yes.
But let's start here. Ladies and gentlemen, Sug Daniels.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Philly-based from Delaware. And let's just talk a little bit about When I'm Gone. So, it's the latest release from you. And tell us a little about the inspiration and kind of...
I think I wrote that song about a friend that I was like crushing on.
Yeah.
And it was like I had a little bit of liquid courage. It's almost kind of like if you've heard my song Heavy. It's like I'm a little anxious and I'm like I want to say this thing, but I don't know how to do it. And I don't know how to say it. I don't know if I'm gonna ruin the friend zone or ruin the. But I feel like
and it's
when
so
I'm
universal. Like it's something that we all can identify.
Oh,
with.
for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
We've all been there where it's like I don't know if I want it, but I do, but I don't.
But I do.
And maybe they do.
And I don't want to ruin it.
Right.
But I feel like When I'm Gone was like kind of very close to the same time I wrote Heavy, and it came out much later, but around the same time I wrote them, and it was kind of like the song where I was like, forget it, I'm just gonna go for it. I know you thinking about me up there, girl. I know I'm thinking about you too, baby.
Right.
So it was just like really fun and kind of cheeky, and I think I had been listening to a lot of like Tash Sultana, and she does this thing, or they do this thing where they kind of have this like really fun delay on a lot of their guitar tones.
Sure.
So I was also trying to mess around with like just different tones on my ukulele because I'm so new to it.
Yeah. We'll definitely get into that.
Kind of like, I had started releasing music on the ukulele, and I knew I was going to do like an EP first before I started like getting into a studio and like paying for studio time. The whole first EP is honestly kind of a demo. I don't have a clue. I definitely didn't have a clue then what I was doing.
Sure, no, absolutely.
But I was having fun.
It's a fascinating, like, again, when we get to that bridge.
Yeah.
It's, in all sense of the words bridge, it's very much an interesting part of that. But yeah, I can understand what you're talking about.
Yes, I had started releasing music, and I was like, okay, I'll keep this one on the back burner for a little bit. And then by the time I had was coming around, I had already released my first EP through Weird Sister Records, which was really, really fun. And then I was in Philadelphia. I was making music with people. I teamed up with my buddy Sam Nobles, who's also from Delaware.
Yep.
Living in Fishtown.
We're
Shout out
everywhere.
to Sammy, baby. I know, right? And we, he had put this together, and I was like, I think we should shop this around, maybe. I don't know. And I'm trying to think, how did I get in contact with Don Giovanni, Joe from Don Giovanni Records.
Yeah.
Was at a show that I had done with one of his artists.
Mm-hmm. Which is another
Fields.
huge congratulations.
Yeah, I know.
I've got my
shirt on. That thing is fresh too. I love it. And I had known who they were from just like being a Smyrna punk. So I knew who Screaming Females was. So I was like, wow, that's really cool. And he was like, really interested in your music. I'd love to maybe put something out. And I was like, I got this song.
Right.
And he heard it and was like, yeah, I think it'd be really cool to like release something together. So we got it together and released it and toured down to Texas, and I played it at South by Southwest, and I've been playing around with Black Opry, and now we're approaching 10,000 streams. It got on a playlist in like Iceland or something like that, or like Finland, someplace in Europe that's like really random. And that's really what kind of did the jump off.
Yep.
But like once you're in kind of like the algorithm in that way, then it starts to get picked up everywhere. So
It is on our Your Next Favorite Song 2023 playlist,
Hey.
which is not hitting any algorithms, but
that's
for what it's
okay.
worth.
Listen, y'all better check it out.
That's exactly right. Featuring Sug Daniels. Okay, so let's roll this back. Like one thing we always like to do on this show is get back to the beginning of the story. So we talked about it. You're born Smyrna, Delaware. And your mother is a singer in the church choir.
Yes. My mom still is to this day a phenomenal singer. She doesn't really sing live anymore, which makes me sad because I feel like that's her calling, but that's okay.
Right.
Everybody's journey is different. But I just remember going to church and feeling so moved by her performances.
Sure.
And then just to see how happy it made everybody. And
Yep.
I was like, that looks like a cool job. I think I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I think I was too young to realize that wasn't, I don't want to say feasible because it's my job now for sure.
Sure.
But I think that when you're a kid, it's okay to dream big. You're like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be,
absolutely.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I just literally never lost it.
Yeah.
I just, everything growing up in my life, I was like, I'm doing all this, but one day I'm going to, and I knew it. I was like, I'm going to live in the city. I'm going to be in a rock and roll band, and I'm going to ride around on a motorcycle. I got a scooter right now. I'm going to get that motorcycle. Give me another year. So I kind of always I just knew, I didn't know how I was going to get there.
Sure.
But I knew I was going to do it. I started, singing in church, and then I got to high school and started making music with my cousins.
And it was, from what I understand too, like obviously as a high school kid, you're listening to like punk and rap.
Yeah.
And now you're going to Sundays to listen to this inspiring church music, and it's like this very cool, like both ends of the candle moment for you.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And you probably don't know how to even reconcile that, but you're just all in on all of it.
Yeah, and a lot of Jimi Hendrix too. My younger
Sure.
brother's father was really into rock and roll. So I had like a lot of before I even knew who they were. I just was listening to all these different kinds of influences, and I knew a good song when I heard it. I knew it was like, I didn't know what it was, but I was like, that's good. This is, And I remember even setting up like my stuffed animals and making my little brother perform with me. I was like, we're gonna be in a band. I had all the little girls in school. We would go to I remember this was like an unlocked memory. We would go to the office, the front office with all the ladies, and I would make us sing like Spice Girl songs. And we were probably sounding horrible, but I know we were cute.
Yeah, right.
I know we were cute because they would let us get out of class for it.
Right.
We'd be in the playground just like, okay, 1 and 2 and so I just
selling it.
Selling it.
Right.
If you at least have the confidence.
Yes.
You got just the
Yeah.
confidence.
Own it.
You gotta own it. So I just never had a question. I've just always loved it. And it's, like you said, it has evolved I think I got a little intimidated by singing because of how good my mother was, and I was like,
Sure.
well, maybe I'll rap for a little bit. Like, that sounds really fun.
Right.
So I started making beats with my cousin on this like little play piano,
Nice.
and he was like, this is cool. And I remember that song too. It's like, 'cause we know how to do it. We coming right straight through it. Taking over your radio, get in our way, I crushed them toes. Like, just like silly stuff. And then nobody believed that I wrote it. So I was like, I must be.
You're on
onto
something, yeah.
Right.
I must be onto something
People
good.
are, you took that from somewhere else.
I didn't.
Right.
Right. But, so they was like, okay, let's get into it. So our parents seen that we had a passion, and they were like, okay, maybe it's secular, but you guys are doing something. So they started driving us around, and we would do like little cafe open mics and stuff. And then we had a gentleman from the school that I had went to, Marc Johnson, was like, he used to rap, and he was in a really big group, and the name slips my mind right now, but he kind of just recognized that we had like the thing. He would say that. He'd be like, you guys have the thing.
Yeah.
And I know
The
some
it factor.
people. Right, the it factor. He's like, I know some people, so let's move around and see what we can do. And, I had some friends be like, just practice. And we loved it. It was like, it kept us out of trouble, I think.
Sure.
A lot of our friends were kind of like, getting into drugs and getting
Right.
into like kind of like, gangs and stuff like that. And I just wasn't interested. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make music. Wanted to go to the studio and write songs with my family.
And this is still in slower, lower Delaware.
Absolutely. This was we're in Dover at this point.
Got
We're
it,
in Dover,
yeah.
Delaware, which isn't too far from Smyrna, but it feels like a world apart.
Reality
I'm
is
sure.
nothing's too far from anything in Delaware.
Yeah.
Someone who grew up there.
Yeah.
You grew up everywhere, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
Um,
started doing that. I think I got to be probably in my early 20s, and then I was really feeling singing, the calling to
Sure.
sing again.
Uh-huh.
Is somewhere in here where you come out and you have to leave the church? Is this around that time? Or?
Yeah. That was so I had like
'Cause that's
my
tough. I
first
mean, that's-
love
yeah.
was in high school. Same time I'm kind of like coming into my own as a musician,
Right.
a rapper. I'm like, I'm like creating all the content. I'm like really digging my teeth into like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And her father was the Spanish teacher at our school, and her mother was the bishop at our church, and my stepfather was the preacher at the church. So it was like when we would get caught all the time.
So you got eyes everywhere.
Eyes everywhere.
Mhm.
So at some point, it just didn't feel like a place that felt safe and good for me.
Welcoming, yeah.
Mhm,
Accepting.
It didn't. And I'm sure, that's not every church, but for me in this situation, in this instance, I did not feel
Sure.
safe to be who I knew I was.
Mhm.
So I also felt like in rap, I felt like it was a bit, in the way that we were moving, I felt like there was a lot of misogyny that I just was like, why do I keep putting up with this?
Sure. Yeah.
I just wanted to do something that felt more me. And Hoochi Coochi ended up being that thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got hooked up
Now,
with Fats. And
Does that skip FlowCity?
No, they coincide.
Got it,
So
okay.
I think like probably the last 2 years that I was in FlowCity, I started making music with my buddy Fats Hawkins. He was in another band, and I seen him on Facebook playing guitar, and he was a drummer in this band. And I was like, hey man, you wanna make some blues music? And he's like, yeah. So he lived not too far from me. I went and picked him up, brought him to my house. It was almost like a date. We drank a bunch of wine, and we wrote our first song that ended up being like one of our biggest songs,
Sure.
Rocketship Blues, that night. We just banged it out like
That's
that.
fantastic.
And so it was fun. I was like, this is electric. I feel like, like the stars are aligning. It made me feel like how when I first started making rap music.
Back to the universe.
Yeah, it made me feel like I was coming back into it. And then that was a grind. That was like, I think when we were kids, we had people like toting us around everywhere, and we would get into clubs for free. And
Right.
we were like, 17, 18, like 19, way too young to be in there, but having a good time.
Right.
But being in like a rock band, you're like sleeping on the floor, you're like barely getting by, you're not getting paid. You're like, one day we put out a tip hat, a little tip jar, and people started putting money in it, and I was like, what? Let's go here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did that. We did that for several years, and Hoochi Coochi was fun. And then it became so big, and I didn't have a manager. And the band loved to play, but it was like I was doing all the social media
Sure.
and the booking and all the other bits, and
Yeah.
I wasn't really making a lot of music. So then I was getting a little exhausted and a little burnt out with that. And then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
I didn't start playing ukulele or I wasn't really Sug Daniels
Right.
until
Yeah, so let's slide it back just a little bit. So FlowCity, you're brown sugar.
brown sugar, baby.
SUGA. So that's where it starts to kind of take
Yeah.
roots, and that's this rap trio.
Yeah.
And we'll share some highlights of a song there called "Express Yourself."
Yeah.
Atlantic Sands, brother. All right, let's do it.
We gonna crash this party? Let's go. I'm over this anyway. I'll put my headphones on. I'm gonna warm the car up. I'll be outside. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Hey. I just really wanna get back to it. And now that I got your attention, I'ma let you know you real. Yeah.
I'll ask him if he's ready, hot and heavy. I'm shaking with anticipation. Ooh, it's crazy. He take it with no hesitation. I'm his baby, S&M and penetration. I'm a slave, see. Need a minute to catch my breath. He said, express yourself. Then he got up to fix me a drink. Couldn't help but touch myself. Oh, ain't been together for a minute. I'll admit it. You the best to ever do it. You can get it, baby.
Shut it. You seem to forgot all about me.
Shout out to young Rocco and Nino, baby.
Yeah, and it's a funny moment in the beginning, and we'll edit some cool stuff together there for that. But yeah, I mean, a totally different vibe for you, a totally different kind of persona. Like you're a different personality type there. And you're saying there at the same time, Hoochi Coochi's going on at the same time, and that's all Delaware-based stuff.
All of it.
And like you said, that's more bluesy. We'll share some there about what the sound of that band was.
When I come home and I see you there, you don't know what it does to me, baby. Loving you is air, and I can't breathe when you're gone. Ain't no love in this song. I won't drink no more. I hurt when I'm hurting. I know that it's wrong, darling. Please. I never meant to hurt you, baby. I'm down on my knees, darling. 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 Na, 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 na.
And that's like a 5-piece, right? That's like drums, guitar. You're the lead singer.
Yeah, at that
There was keyboards.
it was usually stayed a 4-piece. We had kind of some players rotate in and out. So usually always stayed a 4-piece, but right now we're up to like 6. We do have a show coming up. I'm very excited about that. But there's like 6 of us now. That's fun.
I think I saw a post today where it's going to be Sug Daniels and Hoochi Coochi.
Yeah, so we're going to play some of my music.
So you're playing, you're opening for yourself.
It's going to be all at once. So we're going to open with some Hoochi Coochi. We're going to play some Sug Daniels.
What a great show!
Yeah, this is gonna be, and then we're gonna end with some Hoochi Coochi originals. So yeah, man, July 27th. If you happen to be in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware, July 27th at the 7th and West Park, it's going down, baby. 6 to 7:30. It's gonna be a good time.
It is going to be going down. And did I also see you also had a cover band, Brown Sugar and Blonde Roast?
Oh my God, yes. That's actually okay. So that's like a cover band acoustic duo that I do with my manager, Lauren Keeney. But we did this before she was my manager. I mean, she definitely managed the heck out of that group. I appreciate you, girl. But before, we were just like buddies, and we would just like go out and sing a lot of like female power ballads, and people would tip us, and we would just drink beer. And I'd always wear sunglasses because I couldn't remember all the lyrics to all the songs, but I didn't want people to know, so I'd be like wearing sunglasses and like looking at the iPad. So those are just all of me, just like real sassy.
So yeah, a little peek behind the curtain there.
Yeah.
The sunglasses are not only for the
cool rock
the
star
cool
factor.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not cool in the slightest. I'm not cool.
Oh, you totally are.
I'm alright. But that was so that's been fun too. We have some gigs coming up with that too.
That's cool. So I guess here you are in this 2017, 18, 19. You've got FlowCity, you've got Hoochi Coochi, you've got this cover band. You're starting to make a career as a musician.
Yes.
And then COVID comes and knocks that right out from under you.
Yeah.
And it's got to be a tough moment. It's got to be It's a little bit of a trope that a lot of interviews go here, but I mean, it's a metamorphosis moment for you.
It is.
So I think it's key to your origin story of becoming a superhero with the ukulele.
Yeah, I think.
But there's actually a quote here I want to get to. But why don't you share a little bit about that moment there?
Yeah. So during the pandemic, I was kind of like. If I'm being honest, I really had kind of felt like Hoochi Coochi had plateaued, and I wasn't sure what the next move was. I was like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, we can't keep playing these same bars, doing the same set. I'm managing so much, I don't have time to write new material, so the performance is getting a little boring for me. Like, what am I going to do next?
And personal note, you were in a 10-year relationship that also ended in that moment.
Yes.
So it's a lot of collapsing,
a lot of things,
foundational pillars for a human.
And she was also the drummer.
The drummer in the band,
Yeah. So me and my partner were going through a breakup. I'm like not feeling too good about Hoochi Coochi. I don't, are just like not sure, more than anything. Then I moved out with Lauren. I actually lived on Lauren's third floor. She lives on Franklin Street in Wilmington, which is why the EP is called Franklin Street, because I wrote those songs there.
The ukulele EP, yes.
Yes, and I first got the ukulele from me and my ex-partner's roommate at the time, Erin Silva from the band Eyeball. She was a rock and roller. She had this ukulele in her room. We switched rooms because I don't know, maybe we were bored. I don't know. And I was like, "Hey, you forgot."
Well, what else are you doing in the pandemic?
Right, we just switched rooms.
Let's play an away game.
Yeah.
I'll do a sleepover.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, "Hey, you left your ukulele?" She's like, "I literally have not played that thing in years. You can have
And it's
it."
the one you have now?
No, this is my show. This is my show. That's my baby.
Because I was going to say that is like the bossest, whatever.
Oh no, I don't think
the
anybody.
coolest ukulele I've ever seen. I can't wait for people to see it later.
Yeah.
If you've not seen it before, this is the
Fender, holla at your girl.
single greatest ukulele.
Holla at your girl.
Yes.
So she had given it to me, and I was going through all these emotions. I've been writing music basically all since I could write.
Yeah.
So I'm having all these emotions. I have to write them down. And the ukulele is just not an intimidating instrument. It's got 4 strings. Right. It always sounds happy and cute.
No, you can't write a sad song on it. So here's the one quote I want to share based on what you were just sharing. I thought this was so cool. My music and I have moved side by side throughout my years. And I just think that's like such an interesting way to look at it. It's like
it's my friend.
Right. You're just walking around with this muse. And it's been there with you throughout. And I just think that was such an interesting kind of just metaphor for the whole thing.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Who said
You did. You said it. You said that about yourself.
That's good. I had to write that down.
That's from one of your other interviews.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. But it's my friend. I've always had it. So once again, my friend came to help me out. And then I'm realizing, like, okay, I have something. I still have something. I'm just going to release it into the world because that makes me feel good to share it. It almost feels like if you're in an echo chamber, it's like, it's too much. It gets too loud. But once you put it out, it's like, it's out there now.
You start picking it apart, too. When you don't, have to just, you either are done with a song or at least give up on a song and have to put it out there. Because otherwise you end up literally picking it apart and it destroys what is probably a pure or artistic moment for a performer.
Yes. Yeah, and on top of that, it's like you get it almost feels like congestion. It's like a constipation. It's like you can't write, I feel like I can't write more songs until I put the songs that I have out.
Yeah,
so once I release them, I'm like, okay, I gotta write some more music now.
It's like musial constipation.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta get this out before I can get to the next inspiration.
The music brand flakes.
You need some grape nuts. But the other thing that was interesting here was you were feeling attack, like this is the way you put it. During in the beginning of that, like you lost these things, but then you realized how lucky you were, and you went. The way you put it was you went from feeling attacked to empathetic because you realized what these other people were going through.
Yes.
And it's like you said, you've never kind of come back from that. Like you've just been more
in this way where it's just like, wow, we are really all out here alive and trying our best and to understand what is happening to us and to other people around us in the best way that we can, and because we all like are raised and we're just like these souls, but then we're like kind of set through these filters of like race and religion and country and state and like it. But we're all just like these people inside.
Oh yeah.
We're all just like these beings inside. And the pandemic really kind of like helped me see that again. And yeah, I think about it pretty constantly. I think it was really sad. It's a horrible thing that happened that is still going on. But I think it really put it gave a lot of people good perspective.
Sure. Oh, totally.
On what's important, what's really important.
And you talk too, like in that time, in those moments for people, there was George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and stuff, and you even spoke about the march that you went on where, you know, maybe some white people finally were able to see something for the first time and joined those marches, and it kind of spoke to you, and more allies and what have you, but you know, a lot more work to be done, but you know, at least there was that, and you had shared that as being maybe some of those moments there too, because the day of that march was like a downpour.
Yes. Oh my God, it was a torrential downpour. But I feel like it almost added to the feeling of camaraderie, because we were all in this like moment of like feeling hopeful and having this thing and still being like, no, we're gonna complete this together. We're gonna do this together. And there was musical performances that, you know, that always brings people together.
Certainly.
Richard Raw, who's a phenomenal performer and an advocate, an activist, and Jay Street Jr., who was like second generation, just like been living in Delaware, living in Wilmington, and just like sings like these beautiful protest songs, you know. And I was just there as a bystander. I wasn't there as a musician or artist. I was just there as a human, you know.
Right, standing in solidarity.
Solidarity.
Yep. And then, like you said, now you come back and you pick up the ukulele, and you're a reinvigorated musician, songwriter. This was something else I noticed. It jumped out at me in your email signature, and then I've seen it elsewhere, where you're singer-songwriter, hyphenated, and storyteller.
Yes.
And I just thought there's definitely, those are very separate things for you, but very important things.
Yeah, they are. And I think I started adding the storyteller after I started doing a lot more like singer-songwriter kind of like gigs with the Black Opry.
Sure. And we definitely want to learn more about that.
Oh my God. One of the best things that's ever happened to me as a performer. Everybody is like on these different levels in their career, and you're just like all on stage and everybody's playing, and we're all just like having a conversation. And they were my first like writers rounds.
Sure.
And they spoiled me because I've done writers rounds after that, and not all have been as fun or entertaining.
Not the Black Opry.
Not the Black Opry, yes. But with those, I've met so many like mentors and just like peers that are just like, we just like share information. But the most important thing is that we tell our story. And I didn't realize how moving that was for an audience.
Oh, absolutely.
Just for a little context, Phil and I have looked this up and we know about it, but can you explain to somebody listening or watching the Black Opry so they have an idea of what the writer's round is? Because I think a little context might help some of that.
Yeah, or even like who's in, who's out, and
So the Black Opry is an organization that was started, I think maybe 2 years ago, by a woman named Holly. She has no musical background. She was a flight attendant at the time, and she was like, I want to see more Black people playing country, folk, Americana, like all the stuff that was invented by Black people.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we've talked about like the banjo is from slaves and from Africa, and the roots of rock and roll and such are all stems from people who are persons of color.
And in turn, the rest of the world is listening. So African Americans especially have made just like the biggest impact on the music that we listen to today. So she knows that. We know that a lot of times too. But she's really kind of created this platform. So she'll pick a lineup. She had people on like Twitter, I think the first year that and I was like, who is this woman? What is this lineup? What is going on? She was like, you want to play City Winery? And I just moved to Philadelphia, and I was like, that's a pretty good gig. I was like, yeah, I'll play.
Yeah.
And this is for a flight? Is that what this is? Right. It's a flight attendant?
Right. So I go. I had never met anybody before. I kind of looked everybody up. We're doing a singer-songwriter in the round, so that means like several people on stage, and they each take a turn playing a song, and they talk a little bit about their song. Sometimes it's not as fun, but we had an absolute blast. Just kicking and having and talking about the music. I think Autumn Nichols played a song about her experience with like religious trauma, and I'm crying on stage. It was just like one of the most beautiful things that have ever happened to me. And that night, we ended up having what we still call to this day the Philly special.
Right.
We go back, Black Opry always
the
has
music version of the Philly special.
Yeah. So we go back to the Airbnb. Black Opry always has an Airbnb for all the musicians, which is beautiful. Thank you guys so much for doing that for us. And you know, we're just like all hyped up because the show went good.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right,
sure.
And so we're just like kind of jamming and hanging out and talking. And everybody's from different places. They're from all over the country. And a bunch of, which is funny, young flight attendants are in the Airbnb next to us. And they knock on the door, and we open the door, and they're just like, "Hey, we have a bottle of tequila. Do you guys want to, like, play some music? We hear you guys play." And we were like, okay. Yeah. So they come in, and we all basically do the entire show all over again for these young flight attendants for free. And we're just like taking shots. We're going around. We're doing songs, and then Autumn Nichols ends the night with just this amazing mashup of music from like yesterday and today and tomorrow. And they were all like singing No Diggity, No Doubt, and like just like going crazy. And it was just like one of the most beautiful things that I just love it. I just absolutely love it.
Those moments are so special.
Oh my God, I'll never forget it. So yeah, that's the Black Opry. But in the 2 years that Holly has kind of been like working with everybody, her and Tanner and all the people out there, they've already gotten into like I think the Country Music Hall of Fame. Sure. They're doing a great job of calling out some of the racism and the sexism and the homophobia that is in country music.
Yep, sure.
And I just love that the media keeps giving her this platform.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's so funny to hang out with her and talk to her because she's still just like regular Holly. She's just like, girl, I don't know what's going on, but we're going to keep doing it. I'm like, right on.
Right. And so let's take one moment to promote Monday of Music Fest. So that would be August 7th.
Yes.
At 5 p.m.
Yes.
Steel Stack Stage. Black Opry's playing.
Yeah.
So you're playing.
I'll be playing, yes. I don't have a clue who's on the line with me. Which is actually kind of a fun. It sounds like that would be nerve-wracking, but it's not.
But it's also the factor of it could be this giant, pool of people who are part of the Black Opry.
Oh, it's always fun.
Right. So it's always going to be highly talented,
Yep.
just incredible stories and great music.
Yeah. It feels like coming home.
And it is a special opportunity. Like this, it's also free. Let's not forget Music Fest is free.
Yeah.
So this is your chance to see the Black Opry for free on an amazing stage. Have you played Bethlehem before?
I've never been there.
Oh my gosh, you are going to have a
never
blast.
been
First of
there.
all, you're on the stage that has the gorgeous titans of what was the Bethlehem steel industry.
Oh, cool.
So it's this like urban decay, awesome backdrop
Oh, yeah,
of
get
this.
some photos.
Yes, a lot of photos.
It's
But
20-story towers behind you that
Yes.
are from the factory from before.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, not 3 stories.
Not 3.
Roughly 20.
Oh, my goodness.
But I was starstruck with an interview person, and I was just like, I think it's like 3 stories. And as it came out of my mouth, I'm like, there's no way it's 3 stories, but I'm not going to sound like an idiot.
Right.
Anyway.
I would have got there and been like, God dang.
Yeah. Right. So you're going to love it, and people are going to love it. Like, everyone, come down for the Black Opry. And just check out basically history being made,
Yeah.
like in a sense.
And I wanted to get on that festival lineup, and they had said that they had already booked it, and it wasn't until later. Holly had messaged me and was like, "Hey, you want to play Music Fest?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." I was trying to play it anyway, so thanks, sis. So it was just like they just provide such good opportunities. If you're a Black artist who plays like country, folk, Americana, anything weird, fun. Definitely link up with the Black Opry. They have like a submissions sheet, and you can just send them your music. And if they're in the area and they're looking for somebody who does what you do, they will email you, and you'll be on a lineup. And like I said, it feels like coming home. Like
we'll link to it in the show
please,
notes so that we can make it easy for people to kind of submit to it. But yeah, definitely that is. Like we said, it's kind of history making, and it's definitely, hopefully, breaking down some barriers.
Also, it's just going to be a good show.
And then,
and they're so good.
Yes.
That's the other thing. It's also just going to be really
You're just
good.
gonna But yeah, absolutely. But let's talk about that. So other barriers that you've had to deal with. So, person of color, female, and queer.
Oh, very gay.
So
So gay. Gay's a $2 bill, like I say.
which is always one of my favorite phrases. Like, why?
I have a couple $2 bills. I keep them on with good luck
You better.
charms.
At this point, you should. But I think too, like, it's one of those things where I feel like, out of simplicity and almost comically awful, I gotta think certain festival promoters are thinking, we need some diversity.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get Sug because she checks 3 boxes in
Yes.
one artist, and
Oh,
it's
it
like
happens a lot.
we get 3 for 1, and that's horrible. But
Yeah.
at the same point, like, that's part of like what you were talking about with the industry, you specifically country, but I think in general there's gender barriers and color barriers and obviously the LGBT component to things that people need to just get over. Like we talked about before, like these are universal concepts. It doesn't matter gender, skin color, orientation. It's all universal language of music. So
I think
anyway,
that black people, queer people have been proven to make good quality art. I think that it's a lot of gatekeeping. I think a lot of those walls are coming down. I think new people are moving into the industry, and even if it is like, let's get them because they checked 3 boxes or whatever.
Right.
Somebody somewhere was like, hey, we gotta get some black people on this line. Okay, it's been all old white guys for like 10 years. Like, let's get some young color up in here.
Right.
And as much as it's like a double-edged sword. You feel like sometimes I can feel very used, but also it's like, this is the thing that I was put on the earth to do.
Sure.
So it would be very, remiss of me to not take the opportunities that are coming my way.
You gotta
and I can feel a bad vibe when I can feel a bad vibe.
Course. Yes.
And I will say no. There's no amount of money worth, well, I don't know that. But
well, sure. I mean, like you've got to build up that radar from early on in your life for all of those categories.
Yes.
So, it's one of those things where I'm sure you have a very sharp, radar for that kind of the BS meter.
Oh, for sure. And you get it from all different kind of ways and angles. I think especially in hip hop, I was really nervous to be out about my sexuality.
Got it.
It felt very fetishized in that community. They loved that I was a female rapper. Everybody wanted me on the track, but I couldn't really dress the way I wanted to. I was very, I was encouraged to be, more feminine and like to really kind of talk about relationships with women in a way that was strictly sexual.
Sure.
Which is not, I want to have sex with them, but also I want to love on them too.
Right.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Which ended up why I left, and it was, very amicable. I've never really been mad with anyone I've ever had to leave a band or anything like that. It's just I have a goal and a mission, or not even really a goal and a mission. I just have a purpose. I just want to make music that feels good and resonates with me, and that's what I want to do on whatever stage and whatever platform. And when I feel that I cannot do that, when I feel like I cannot be myself, I will move to another space.
Sure.
And if that makes you feel upset or angry, I think that has less to do with me.
You're gonna need to look in the mirror. You need to look in the mirror on that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And more to do with whatever you're going through. And I love you and I forgive you.
Well, and that's huge. I mean, I don't even know what the right word is. Like, just it's a great person that can do that and immediately forgive somebody for that. But you are obviously helping make progress happen, where those doors open and you're like, well, listen, somebody's got to take advantage of this, and that's very admirable. Because
and I take it serious.
Yeah. Oh, and as well you should. So no easy segue off of that one, but other than to just say thank you for being vulnerable with that, because I think it's important to put these stories out there.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's different, and also in the way that for me growing up, I had definitely had the influence of seeing my mother sing in church, which was nice. But I think I would have liked to have had more queer black women just talking about love and loving other women in the way that was natural to them. I'm inventing this as I go.
Sure.
As time goes on, there's more and more.
But the people who are listening to you,
Yeah.
who are now able to normalize that for themselves and feel okay with going there, I mean, who knows what you're opening for these young artists or just people, to be able to just
be able to relate. They're like, oh, you know what?
Yes.
She might be a queer black woman, but I feel the same way.
Right.
I always thought Heavy was like a queer song, and I was like, no, I know so many dudes who've been friend zoned.
Yes.
Yep.
No, you're absolutely right. So again, thank you for that.
Hey, my pleasure.
So all of this then leads to your ability to, this past summer or spring, go to South by Southwest.
Yeah.
And play at Willie Nelson's
house
or backyard or something?
Yeah, I guess this is his backyard. It's like we played the Luck Reunion.
Very cool.
Okay, so first time in Texas. Get there. It's cold. I did not see that coming. I actually did not get a chance to meet Willie because of I just didn't prepare clothing wise. But we had an absolute blast.
Sure.
South by Southwest was really fun. They don't really pay. It's like, there's like a lot of boycotting kind of going on right now, and I think that's good because the people who own South by Southwest are extremely wealthy.
Sure.
And it's just like really not a good deal for a lot of the venues and the artists, but you do get the network.
Yeah.
So I was like, y'all can keep your little $100. I'll go ahead and take the conferences.
Sure. Right.
Because I wanted to learn. I'm like, I'm also very into my career. I think
Yeah, we met at the Inside Hustle.
Yeah.
In Philly.
I love it. I think it's very interesting, and you meet such wonderful characters. I think the word networking can get a bad rep. It's like,
of course.
you're not using people to do something. You're finding people who are like-minded
Correct.
to continue to create art and spread the message of love, peace, music, creativity, and unity.
Absolutely.
You just, if the vibe is bad,
Yeah.
the hang is not good, don't do it. I don't care. Don't do it if the vibe is not cool.
Yes, and like you said, you picked that up pretty quickly.
I feel like, you know, I had to go through some, I had to learn some things. The rap industry definitely taught me quick.
Sure.
That feeling of who you can and cannot trust. What was I talking about?
We were talking about South by Southwest.
Oh
and
yeah, South by
Willie's, yeah.
Southwest. Okay, so yeah, we got down there, meeting lots of people, having a good time. I have this new song, When I'm Gone had come out earlier that month.
Right.
So I had this new song I'm promoting. I was really tactical about it. I was like, if I go down there, I want to have something new. And I was already invited to come, like I had submitted and they had already said yes to me. But then in the meantime, I end up hooking up with Joe over at Don Giovanni.
Right.
And then When I'm Gone is released through them, and they
Sure.
already have a showcase. So it was like just work, the stars aligned.
The universe.
The universe.
Yep.
The Black Opry hit me up and was like, "Do you want to come down and play this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be in. Literally, I'm gonna be there the day before playing South by Southwest." So everything just kind of like lined up perfect. They were two separate things that were all kind of started by me being like, "Sure, I'll submit to South by."
Yep.
I don't know where I'm gonna be. I did the early submissions, and those are like a lot cheaper. So I was like, "Let's just do it now."
Yeah, sure.
Let's see what
$20-$30.
happens. Let's see what happens. I got and it just like worked out perfect. I had an absolute blast. I met up with Weird Sister Records. They were done the first label that I was signed to, and they had some artists, and they put me on a little showcase, and I had a good time.
That's awesome.
It was good. I love Willie Nelson's ranch. Was great. The people in Texas are super friendly.
Sure.
I have no complaints. I'd love to go back, actually. If y'all want me back, Texas, where you
The
at?
only advice: bring a jacket.
That's the only advice I have.
Right.
Austin was great.
Check a weather app.
Yeah, I got to see a lot of artists I had wanted to see. Yeah, it was great.
That's fantastic. So has this been a very good year for you? Is there other stuff about like release this great song?
If I'm being honest, and I don't mean to, life has just been good.
Sure.
And I think mostly it's just like I just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Like that doesn't necessarily mean that like everything works out. Sometimes like certain things fall through, and but that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, because
it probably wasn't the right time.
I think that's what I like to. That's how I feel about life.
You recently played the Philadelphia Museum of Art.
Yeah, that was epic.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't even know how I got that gig. I remember. It was Lauren, the lady Lauren. Shout out to Lauren.
Yeah.
She seen me at another show. This is how a lot of my career is rolling now.
Dominoes.
Is somebody being like, I seen you play this.
Right.
And I would like to book you for this.
Yes.
So that's a lot of my booking is kind of happening like that, and they're really good gigs.
Yep.
But I played with my buddy Eric Kramer, and we just showed up, and they had us like, you know where you come down the big stairs on the inside, and there's like that beautiful statue.
The statue, like it has like a.
Yeah. So we played like down there. The acoustics were amazing. There was like a little happy hour, so we were also getting like these really good drinks. Shout out to whoever was bartending, because them drinks was like had me lit.
Question mark. Fill in the blank. Yeah, get in touch.
And yeah, my life is. And then after the gig, I went to hang out with some friends, but I'm outside. We're out like by the stairs before you go down to like where Rocky ran up.
Rocky, right.
And we're just like looking out, and you can see the city, and I'm just like, wow, life is crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
what
the heck?
And now you're everyone's next favorite band.
I hope so. I hope so.
Well, it's a guarantee. You're on the show, but you're also you had put out there a post where you're up for awards, like something. Let's promote.
Yes.
People can vote for you, and
well, the voting is closed, but I had it. That's okay, because it was a great time.
So feel bad that I didn't get the timing right on that one.
That's all right. That's okay.
Right?
Listen, it's it was like up for like I think folk song of the year and like. Best song of the year. I don't know. Something. It's hard to keep up with that stuff, honestly. It really is. Like, you just, like, get it in your inbox and you, like, throw it out into the universe and you don't know what's going to happen, but it's always an honor to be nominated. So thank you, Delaware, for nominating me and John Fay for Lightning in a Bottle, Hometown Heroes. I had won some awards. I think last year I had, like, Best EP, Best Folk Song, and Best, like, female lead singer or something. But I have the little trophies in my little studio in my basement in South Philly, and I look at them every once in a while, and I was like, somebody thought I was great.
Well, we
and
think
not
you're
just
great.
my grandma.
Right.
But you can't let it get to your head, you know? You gotta keep going.
You are great, without question. So we're gonna have you play some music here, but before we do that, because we're going to shift things around, the song you're going to play is called Heavy.
Yeah.
And let's talk about it, because it is heavy. It doesn't sound heavy, but it is heavy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the song. Mention also about the video, because you basically homemade it during
God, yeah,
and
I
that
love it.
doesn't give it justice. It's a wonderful video. But basically you DIY'd it is probably a better phrase. So let's talk about the song, the video, so people can go check that out before you play it. And you know, just continue to talk about how great this song is.
Thank you. So yeah, Heavy is this song that I wrote when I was going through this breakup, like I talked about earlier. And all of my songs are from real life. I very rarely, and maybe I can get into it one day, but very rarely do I write a song about somebody else doing something else.
Sure.
It's usually like I'm trying to work through some stuff, so I gotta put it into a song. It's the best way I know how to get through it. And I was having a lot of feelings towards a friend that was really there for me during the breakup, and I was like, is this a vibe? Are we flirting? Like, is this, But I think mostly I was just being very vulnerable
Sure.
and having someone show up for me in the way that I felt like I hadn't had
Sure.
my ex-partner show up for me.
Right.
So the song is just kind of like opening up to that friend
Right.
about that feeling.
Yep.
And I think, I talked about it earlier. I used to always be like, I know how all my gays out there know how it feels to be, the lines get blurry. But then the more I would talk about this song and like say it on stage, the more I was like, actually, this is everybody.
It's a universal.
It's a
for
very
sure.
universal.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
This ain't got nothing to do with who you trying to bump uglies with.
Right.
It's just a feeling that you get sometimes
Of
when
course.
you're just unsure.
Yeah, and it's crossing lines between friendship, support, and
Yes.
affection and
Yes.
romance.
Yes.
And it's like, is that mutual or isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this lands. And we won't tell anybody the ending. They got to go watch the video.
And the video was fun. Once again, during the pandemic, I was hanging out with my buddy Rob. Big shout out to Rob Pfeiffer, my road manager, my best buddy, my photographer. He had a bunch of recording equipment and camera equipment in his house, and I'm locked up. I have nothing to do, so I was like,
Sure.
I'm newly single. I'm like, I gotta keep it going. I gotta find something to do, So yeah, I wrote like a little treatment, and I had written music videos for Hoochi Coochi and for FlowCity, so it wasn't like I was just like,
Wasn't new
what
to
can I
you,
do?
yeah.
I was like, what can I do with what I have?
Yep.
And I was like, I'll just do what I do every day.
Yep.
Which is like sit around, wait for this girl to text me, maybe. And yeah, like make dinner with Rob and like, hang out in the studio.
Right.
So yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And so one last thing before we move to the music, let's promote what you've got coming up.
Yeah.
So in addition to Music Fest, there's some other shows you got
Yeah,
going.
heck
And
yeah.
new music, which we're going to feature at the end here.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. So today, you guys are going to be listening to Take Your Time. It's a song from me, Shane Palco, and Samuel Nobles. Shane hit me up. He's my buddy. He's my world traveler. I never know where he's going to be. I never know where he's going to be in the world. He's just like a little vagabond buddy.
He's your Carmen San Diego.
Yeah, he is my Carmen San Diego.
Where in the world is Sean Palco?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's randomly, I the Blues sent me like this really cool like guitar riff, and by nightfall I had all the lyrics. I had just started dating again, and like I was going to a lot of coffee shops, and like that energy was fun and fresh and new.
You were highly caffeinated?
I was highly caffeinated constantly because it was a new cafe job, and I did not know how to drink coffee at the time. So yeah, by the end of the day, I had this song kind of all fleshed out. And then, my buddy Sam, who's from Delaware, I know Shane from Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
We're hanging out, we're running through some songs. I show him that. He's like, let's record it. So that's going to be the one you're listening to. That's going to be out.
We're honored. Thank you so much for letting us have that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love little sneak peeks.
Yeah.
It'll be out everywhere on the 13th, but you guys get it early.
Nice. Yeah, it'll be post-credits of the show. Like, we always play one song at the end there. So stay tuned for exclusive 48-hour pre-show.
Come on. You love to see it.
Let's get in early.
I know. I got my calendar up. I got Eagle View Concerts in Exton,
Yes,
Pennsylvania,
that's right.
opening for the Adam Ezra Band. That's full band. That's going to be so fun. I have a
Free
saxophone
show.
player. Free show.
Right.
Out in Exton,
Outdoors.
Pennsylvania.
Great restaurants right there, too.
Yep.
Definitely do that one.
On the 18th of July, on the 27th, like I said, I got Hoochi Coochi, Sug Daniels, the Hoochi Coochi Band back in Wilmington, Delaware.
Nice.
At 7th and West. I'm playing Kung Fu Necktie with the Lunar Year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, in Super City on August 3rd, which is
Still
going to
one
be
of
amazing.
my favorite venue names on the
Kung
planet.
Fu
Kung Fu
Necktie.
Necktie, yeah. Yeah, and then I got shows on shows, y'all. And
then
yeah,
Music
Black
Fest
Opry
on the-
Music
yeah,
Fest. On
After
August
that,
7th.
we'll link to your website.
Yeah.
So that gives people some stuff to kind of try to get to see you in the meantime. And then, like you said, tons of stuff already happening for the fall.
Oh my god, it's ridiculous. I'm stressed. Today I actually should have did like a little meditation before I came because it's like I'm going to the West Coast next week.
Right.
For the first time. I'm very excited. I'm on vacation, y'all. I'm not gonna be playing. You
Nope.
know. But I'm like trying to schedule a bunch of content because I have Sweet Juice Fest. You know, if you're in Philadelphia, I also hold a festival called Sweet Juice Fest on July 22nd.
Yep, amazing.
We have
festival.
a bunch of amazing artists: Shamir, American Trappist, Brittany and Trumbo, Sam Rise. Oh my god! Tickets are moving, but I'm just doing a bunch of content scheduling. So my brain is fried, but I don't forget what I'm talking about. I love you guys. I'm gonna play a song for y'all. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Yes, no, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Super honored. This was amazing, and can't wait to see you play now. And then also, Black Opry Music Fest is a definite for us, obviously.
We'll be there.
Thank you so much, Sug.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sug Daniels. What a shining light of joy is Sug Daniels.
We didn't really have to be there so much, Phil. We could have just like let her just bubble over. She's effervescent, lovely to be around. Wonderful conversation, wonderful music.
Absolutely. Hope the best for her. What did we learn? What did we learn, David?
That Delaware has the most talented musicians. Again, verified.
On the planet.
We learned that Sug writes great music and is a great person, which is a wonderful combination to have. It's she has the personality for miles. She has songs that go that are easy to get into, easy earworms, but have enough of a meaning and interestingness to them that they're not just bubblegum.
Yep.
So plus and ukulele all day long.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like, just has the coolest ukulele in the history of guitar making. I just love the look of that thing. It looks amazing. We learned the universe is on her side, so do not get in the way of that. She is destined for greatness.
Well, we're waiting for our footage to be used in some sort of great documentary on Sug Daniels.
Absolutely.
Where, again, our grainy footage will be there, and like the silent film cards will come down to help with all of the narration.
Yeah, and we learned about the Black Opry. We learned that the Black Opry is...
I'm really looking forward to that, actually, performance.
Yes.
We learned all about it. I'm glad that she gave us a really great insight into that.
Yep, and do not miss it. If you're thinking of Music Fest or if you can get down there, it is the Monday night, but Monday nights are often a very special night at Music Fest. It's
true.
Yeah, and for this year, very much so, because at 5 p.m. on the Steel Stack stage, America Plots, as they call it, that time frame, will be the Black Opry, and that will be a very special opportunity, and people should not miss it if they can get there.
I think that's exactly right. You should stop what you're doing and simply go see the Black Opry.
And stay tuned after the credits here for we're gonna play the song. You get 48 hours advanced enjoyment of. I know, right? It's so cool. So thank you so much for Sug for giving us that preview. So,
all right, Phil, let's say goodbye to everybody.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Your Next Favorite Band. We'd like to sincerely thank Sug Daniels for regaling us with all of her stories, for performing, and for giving us all the insight into her back history with FlowCity, with Hoochi Coochi. Hopefully you can catch any of her upcoming shows, including the Black Opry performance during Music Fest. And also a huge thank you to Marc and Flannel Restaurant. Once again, great opportunity. Definitely go check out that establishment. Great food, great drinks, great music. Flannel, East Passayunk, Philadelphia. There'll be links in the show notes to all of this, all of Sug's site, socials, all that good stuff. All of her upcoming shows, links to the Flannel Restaurant, so you can check out that kind of stuff and what they've got coming up. As always, our hope here is to bring you your next favorite band. If you happen to already know Sug Daniels and that's why you tuned in tonight, thank you so much. Hopefully you enjoyed what you heard, and you might like and subscribe and follow us so that we might be able to bring you your next favorite band in the future. If you have an idea on who you think our next favorite band should be, by all means, let us know. Either send us an email or drop us a note on social media. We'd love to check out new artists. That's what we're all into here, so we'd love to see that. And if you are a musician and would like to be considered to come on the show, let us know that. And if you'd like to sponsor the show, we're always open to that as well. So hit us up, and we'll have a convo. Looking forward to Music Fest. And now, advanced world premiere of Take Your Time by Sug Daniels.
Crack a smile and stay well. I like your jokes and I'm a sucker for style. That pretty face stops me in place. Do you gotta leave so soon? It's just a little afternoon. One more cup of coffee, please. I know you gotta go. You have somewhere to be. I ain't no fortune teller. I can't provide no guarantee, but I got a feeling I just can't ignore. It's like a deja vu, like I've been here before, for sure. And I don't wanna rush things, but I know one thing. And get to know me. And get to know me. You've been talking like a mile a minute. That's cause you're excited and it's so strange, but in the best way. Please let me elaborate. Haven't had much luck with days. You're so easy, you could be home base. Cheeks hurt from smiling like I'm 17. Kiss me on the corner and I'm so happy. I've been having a rough go of it, and you just made my week. Can I see you again? For sure. And I don't wanna rush things, but I know one thing. And get to know